Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody is doing super well. I'm actually really excited about today's video. I have a product from Rosalind. I was surprised when they sent these out to me. They have nail tips, okay? And this is exciting because I can't wait to test these out and share these with you guys. This is a 264 piece full cover set of pre-shaped soft gel nail tips in medium almond. These are also really nice because these are already half matted tips and you don't have to prep the inside of these tips before applying them. Look at how this is done on the inside. I love the way these are packaged. It is very sleek. It is very well done. So I'm going to get a sheet of these out so I can show you guys. And I like the fact that these are still on the stem so you can store them in here really well. You don't have tips all over the place. And you can just take off the sizes that you're going to need. But look at how these are made. I'm going to take one of these off. They come off very easily. Look at the matted part of that nail. That is going to save you time with prepping these. You're going to get really good adhesion. The back of these are soft, but the front of these tips, the ends of the tips are very sturdy. So they're definitely going to get some really good wear. And I am so excited to get these on my hand. First, I want to get out the paperwork that comes with these and show this to you guys really quickly. Now, Rosalind always does a fabulous job of including instructions. Right off the bat, what is nail tips? They are made out of PMMA acrylic. You can choose nail tips that cover the full nail plate or ones that just partially cover the nail plate. Pre-shaped soft gel nail tips in thin fit to the real nail without crease or chipping. You can create a nail extension, and most love nail looks. I love that they're very thorough with instructions. I'm excited about the inside of this, but we're going to get to that in a minute. They do include all the usage steps for you. So if you're new to using the products, you are going to have all the information you need, as well as any type of removal that you're going to need to know about. They also do include frequently asked questions. That's very helpful if you're having any questions. But if you can't find answers to questions you're looking for, you can always contact Rosalind. So check this out. I love this. I have not ever gotten one of these in any set of nail tips, and I love the fact that this is included. So this is going to explain to you the size of the nail tips. That's also going to help you size the correct nail tip to the nail plate. So you're going to be able to measure your nail bed and also match that up to the types of tips you're going to use. This is nice to have, not only for this set, but for any set of full cover tips that you're going to have. This is going to come in handy from Rosalind, but they do tell you there may be a 1 to 2 millimeter error with manual measurement. So always keep it in mind that nothing is ever 100% perfect or exact, but this is definitely very handy to have. So I appreciate the thought and consideration that went into this set of full cover tips from Rosalind. So thank you, Rosalind, so much for sending this out. I absolutely am adoring this. So I'm going to go ahead and get out the tips that I'm going to be using today and get this box set aside. And I'm going to keep the directions out just in case I need to look over them for reference. Of course, there wasn't anything on there that I didn't already know, but these come in handy if you're not sure how to prep the nail or apply the product that you're going to be using. So I am still wearing the Rosalind pink gel polish set on these nails. I wanted to keep this on for weeks. I wanted to test the Model 1's glue for the rhinestones, but I also wanted to test the wear on the gel polish. I ended up having to go back over the thumb with one of the glitter polishes. I ended up with a crack in my overlay that I had to repair, and the glitter polish concealed the repair a lot better than the original pink did. So I went through and tested a ceramic bit to see how well it was going to take off this gel polish and that overlay on the nails, and it decided it was going to work just fine. So I got out my nippers that I only use to remove rhinestones and crystals and charms, and it took a little bit of work. It did take a little bit of work. That Model 1's had that stuff on lockdown. Even after weeks, nothing popped up, nothing was lifting. So I highly recommend checking out their rhinestone gel, because that stuff was just absolutely magical. But I went ahead and left the removal in the video for you guys. these Rosalind polishes held up really well. I didn't have any scuffs. I didn't have any chipping. I didn't have any scratches in the polishes, even after a couple weeks. And I wash my hands like 50,000 times a day. I'm constantly using my hands. And so that's a really good wear and tear for the Rosalind gel polishes as well. So I was really satisfied with the way both of the products performed for me over the course of a couple weeks. Now, I did have a gel overlay on my nails, and it was time for that to come off at the same time that these polishes were coming off anyway. And I was done testing the Model 1s. But yeah, I ended up just doing a gel overlay on the nails because prior to this, the last set of nails that I had been wearing, my pinky nail got caught and yanked on, and yeah, that stuff hurts bad. I ended up with separation of the nail plate from the nail bed. I had to do the repair work, and so I ended up with the shorter overlay on my nails. So if you were wondering why I had the shorter nails with the manicure, that's what was going on. I didn't say anything about it prior because I just wanted to see how it was going to go, and it just really wasn't a big deal at the time. Um, but I wanted to go ahead and get all of that off my nails as well. So if you've ever had nails, artificial nails on, and you've ever gotten your nails snagged on something, pulled on something, slammed into something, you guys already know the pain is real. It hurt for a little minute, but of course I immediately needed to remove whatever was on the nail to relieve that pressure off the nail plate. But I went ahead and did all that and did the treatment that I could do on it, and then ended up with the overlay just to protect it so it could grow out naturally. So it happens from time to time. It sucks when it happens, but you definitely want to be careful and mindful to how you treat that, because you don't want to lock in any type of bacteria or fungus into your nail plate. So I'm going to do the soak off method with the rest of the builder gel, and I only put my nails in there for about 20-30 seconds at a time until everything removed, and the most amount of time that I had my nails in the soak off was about 2 to 3 minutes, because I don't like to soak off nails. So I like to get my hands in and out of any products as quickly as I can to limit exposure and overexposure. And so now that my hands were done soaking off, that little bit that was left that I needed to get off was off. I had washed my hands thoroughly, and in order to get that moisture and everything out from underneath the little bit of the nail bed that was still separated just a little bit right there at the tip, after weeks of growth, it had already made its way all right down to the tip, and it was looking good. I did soak my finger in some isopropyl alcohol for a few minutes to give it an opportunity to dry out any moisture, and then went ahead and removed the natural extension from my pinky nail. It's looking good. So I'm going to go over all my nails and just add a strong tip like a fiber gel that Red Iguana has to the nails, and I need to get the nails prepped the rest of the way. So I've got my buffer out to go around the outside of the skin and remove any drying or any residue, and make sure that the free edge of my nail has a nice crisp line on it. It's not essentially important, but I always do this anytime I go through and prep my nails to add on anything. I still had residue on my nails from the soak off, so I did need to go through and prep them, first pushing the cuticle back, then going through with a cuticle bit to get around the cuticle and sidewall area. Then I went back through with a different cuticle bit to get up into the cuticle area in the corners to remove any residue, any dead skin, dry skin, all that kind of fun stuff. And then once I was done doing that to all the nails, I went through with a sanding bit to go ahead and gently prep the natural nail. They don't need a whole lot of prep. They just needed that leftover gel overlay off the nails, because I did use builder gel on the nails and I wanted to get that off. But making sure I'm not over prepping, because I don't want the nails to be too extremely smooth, because if they were too smooth, I'm not going to get any real good adhesion when I go to put on the full cover tips. And I'm not running my e-file any higher than 5,000 RPMs. Not running it any higher than that at any stage. And I did go over with the lighter side of the buffer just to remove a little bit of, dry skin or residue from around mostly the outside of the nail, because I don't want the nail plate to be super smooth. So now that I am done with my prep, I'm going to go in and just add a dehydrator to the natural nails before I add my fiber tip gel onto the nails. That's just going to add some strength. And, when my nails are, if there's a reason that I have one nail that's really short, like the pinky nail, I will remove all the new growth or all the growth off of all of the nails and have them all the same length so they can all grow out together. So once my tip of my pinky nail grows out, and if I have to remove any of that, I will do that to all the other fingers on my hand until that is completely gone, if there's any type of damage. And so now that I am done with the dehydrator, it's dry, I just want to make sure that there is no oil and no moisture left on my nail bed, because I do like to wash my hands if I do any filing or buffing. But I also did clean up the pinky nail with a little bit of alcohol again to dry it out, make sure there was no moisture getting up under the nail plate. Now I'm going to stir up this fiber tip gel, this strong tip gel, and go ahead and do a nice thin even application over all of my nails really quickly before I go in to add any base coat to the nails. And I'm going to use base coat to kind of help protect the nails as well. And that's also going to help me with adhesion. I'm going to use base coat to apply these full cover tips from Rosalind. And that to me is just the quickest, easiest method to go ahead and get it applied. To also help with my nail bed, I don't want to put any nail tip glue on my nails. I can use a 3-in-1, 5-in-1, 6-in-1, what have you, to apply them, but I just wanted to do the regular base coat application method. I did not use the peel off base coat. I want to make sure that these tips have good adhesion and they stay on my nails. So I also have to make sure that I'm sizing out tips that aren't going to create any kind of excessive pressure on the nails. So making sure I get the right size, that they're not too small, that they're not too big as well, because I want to make sure I don't do any additional damage to the pinky nail. And so it just takes a moment to go through, and I'm just using a square gel brush to apply the strong tip gel to my nails. And this gel has a fibery texture to it, and so this gel is good on the natural nails. It's good on artificial nail tips as well. It's a very versatile product, and actually the only thing I have been using it for mainly is on my natural nail bed to help create a barrier and to get them stronger and keep them, more well protected, over putting products on my nails on a regular basis. So once I finished that application, those went in the lamp for 60 seconds. And now I have my base coat out. I'm going to use my base coat from Madam Glam. That's one of my favorite base coats to use. I'm going to go through and put a nice thin even layer over top of all of my nails. Then I'm going to cure this again for another 60 seconds in the lamp. Then I'm going to use it again to do the full cover tip application. But I'm doing a layer of this to cure first before I add another thin layer during the application. Also to create a little bit more of a barrier on my nails to help keep my nails protected while they grow out. So now that that is done, it's time to size out my nail tips. I know I normally am going to wear a 0 on my thumbnail, but I went ahead and held it over for reference and then started to go with a 1 instead, but I found that the one was not really going to give me 100% full coverage. So I knew I needed to go back to the zero size nail tip that I would normally use. And if it is just a little too big, I will be able to file it gently on the sides so I can get good coverage. So I've got my mini UV light out, which is really handy with applying tips this way because you can swing your finger right up under the light and you have all that free open space to get it up there to the light to get it cured into place. I decided just to do the thumbnail application on camera because it's the exact same process over and over and over again. So I went ahead and applied a nice thin even layer of a base coat, and I'm only putting it in the part where the nail is matted because that part is already prepped, so I didn't need to do any prep to the underneath of these full cover tips. And I gave that a moment to kind of settle back to the center a little bit more towards the back edge, and then I would be able to apply it. So once I turned my light on, I went to go put it on and realized I did not have enough. I made it too thin, so I ended up going back to add a little bit more. That was the perfect amount, so I could go ahead and swing my nail up under the UV LED light, and I held it under there for 60 seconds, wiggled it around, and everything was really, really well applied. So I went ahead and moved that out of the way so I could go ahead and pick out the rest of my nail tips to do the rest of the fingers. And they are all completely applied and I'm satisfied with the application. It went really quickly. So I went ahead and put everything away and did a little bit more prep on the artificial tips. And that was just going around the cuticle and sidewall area with a cuticle bit really quickly just to get everything nice and tight. And I went ahead and wiped them off. That ended up taking out that little bit of shine. Now I'm going to go over them with this really pretty milky pink gel. This is just a base color, so I don't have fully, clear nail tips on my fingers. This is just going to give me a little bit of background for the nail design I'm going to do today. I did all the rest of the fingers off camera, and I just left this part in there so you guys could see me just doing the application. Once I'm satisfied with the application, I am going to turn my finger over and let everything kind of level back. That way it's not thicker around the outside edges. Now this gel is really pretty, but sometimes I find that I have to move it around just a little bit extra than I do some other gels because of that little bit of pigment in there, because it will have spots where it feels like there is a little bit too much. So getting a nice thin even application, that's what it looked like, and in the lamp for 60 seconds. And now I have that base gel down on my full cover tips and I'm able to go ahead and start my nail design. So I'm going to be doing today's nail design with some inks. I've got a green, a brown, and a white. The green I still haven't had a chance to share with you guys because I recently hauled that. A dampened dish with some isopropyl alcohol. And I'm going to use a brush from Madame Glam. This is their plaid brush. This actually works really well for this application. So I've got a lint-free wipe and I do have my little palette sitting there. I don't really need it. I do need to make sure that all of these inks are shaken really well, properly mixed during the application from time to time, because I need to make sure that the pigment isn't settling. But before I can apply this, I did need to go and get a towel because these can stain your background or your table and you don't want to do that. So make sure you have a towel or something down just in case it happens to spill. Always make sure that you're closing the lids on your products when you're not actually physically using them, unless you have them in a position where they can't get knocked over, because it's not worth it to spill and lose a bunch of products. So with that being said, no, I did not spill the brown ink you see sitting there because I was not moving my hand in that direction, but I knew better than to leave it sitting there with the top just kind of chilling on it like that. So take the extra moment to screw it down a little bit, because it doesn't take a lot of effort to unscrew it, but it takes a lot of effort to clean up some spilled ink. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So what I'm doing now is just taking that plaid brush, getting a little bit of alcohol on it and wiping off any excess and going in and just maneuvering the ink around to get the effect that I'm looking for. You don't need very much alcohol. at all. It barely any goes a really long way. So even though you see me dipping it in there, I am wiping any excess off. I'm also wiping any excess pigment off of the brush so I don't end up with it full of different colors of pigment. So I do mess with this for a little bit. I did take my time doing the nails that I did on camera for you guys so you can see the process, but this is actually a really, really quick process to do. When you're not trying to take your time to do it on camera. This goes by really quickly. Ink nails are really easy, a lot of fun, and you can be very creative and work with them in any kind of combination that you want to. Just like with this set, I'm using brown and white and green, and together they make a really unique combination. I'm going in with the brown first because it's more dominant of a color and I want it to be an accent in the nail, but I don't want it to be so overpowering. Plus, if I go over it with the white, once I hit the white with the alcohol, it blooms out a lot better than the brown does, and it creates more texture and a lot more lines. And as I'm building it up in layers, that white is actually going to help give it that quartz nail look that I'm looking for, that marbling, and it's going to be very, very lovely on the nail. The nice thing about working with the ink to create a nail design like this is it's very beginner friendly. It's very forgiving if you make a mistake. And I just love the effect that the ink gives the nail, especially when you use a little bit of alcohol to bloom it out. It is so unique and has more of a natural feel to me. As long as you keep that alcohol to a minimum, okay? Because if you put too much alcohol on the nail, you're going to get too much of a bloom, and then you're going to be trying to repair that. And what I'm really trying to do with the alcohol more than anything is just move the ink around to get some really natural looking lines, to get rid of anything that looks like a circle or any lines that are just a little bit too much, over and over again until I'm happy with the way it looks. And then I can move on into the next layer. And the only reason I'm working in the layers is because I want to build the dimension that I'm looking for. I want to create this design. I want it to feel a lot more realistic on the nail when I'm done with it. And adding these colors in a certain combination and building it in a layer is going to give me the effect that I'm looking for. If I was just looking to do marbling with ink, I would not have to incorporate the extra steps. I could just use one color with a white background or whatever color background I wanted and just use a clear ink or a little bit of alcohol to kind of get it to bloom out. You can work on several different types of surfaces. You can work on a tacky surface, you can work on a non-wipe surface, you can work on a matte surface, you could even use the blooming gels. Just depends on what type of effect you're looking for and how you want to work with the product. That's a nice thing about ink. It's very versatile. So there are a lot of different options with creating the design. And so I'm going to keep adding in the colors till I get the effect that I'm looking for. And however many steps it takes to get the effect you're looking for is however many steps it takes. If you're not looking for a more complicated design with the ink, you're not going to need as many steps. So it's entirely up to you and what type of design you're wanting to create, to what process you need to go through. So the process I'm doing is to achieve the look that I'm wanting. It's not going to be the same process if you're working with nail art ink to create a completely different look. And so I'm about done with this nail. I'm adding in the green, and you'll see that I'll kind of go back in and add in some more white just to kind of really make everything pop. I like the way the white ties everything together. I sped it up a little bit for you guys so you could see this nail come to life. And I hope you guys are enjoying the video. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my video. If you are enjoying it, definitely smash that like button for me. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you work with nail art inks? What's your favorite brands? Is there any techniques that you like to use? Any ways that you like to use it specifically? I would love to hear your feedback. Also, if you're new to my channel and you're enjoying my video, definitely consider subscribing. You can hit the subscribe button, click that bell for notifications, and YouTube is going to let you know when I post new content. I have full-length videos, I post reels, I even have a communities tab, and I like to share products with you guys, discounts, and so there's always deals going on. So definitely consider subscribing if you don't want to miss any of that content. So now I'm going to get back into the video because we are at the end of this design. I'm actually just going back in and adding little pops of white just to brighten the nail up, just to give it a little bit more dimension and really make it pop. And we're just about done with this nail. I'm going to go through and just touch on this white a little bit, just getting a little bit of an effect out of it. Then I'm going to be able to go around the outside of the nail and clean that up. I'm just taking a really thin angled brush and a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and going around the cuticle and sidewall area just to make sure there's no ink that's gotten onto the skin while the blooming process was going on. And this is how it's looking. I absolutely love the way this nail turned out. It looks so realistic. It looks so much like stone to me. I'm going to hit this with a non-white top coat. This would also be really, really beautiful with a matte top coat on it as well if you want to go for the matte look instead of that glossy look. But I decided to go ahead and seal in these nails today with non-white top coat. Be careful when you're adding your top coat. You want to gently float that over the nail as much as possible because if you drag through, it can disrupt your design. This is what it's looking like with a shiny top coat, and I think this is absolutely beautiful. So it's time to go ahead and move on to the next nail. It's going to take a little less because I'm only going to be working in 2 different colors with this one. This nail is going to be green and white, so I'm going to speed this up for you guys as well so you guys can watch this nail come to life. Also, something I wanted to mention, this green ink that I'm working with, of course I'm hauling this in a video for you guys so you'll see more about it. It actually does have some glitter in it, so it is a glitter ink. And when you go to bloom out glitter inks, sometimes the glitter will kind of clump together in spots. So if it does happen to you, you can tap on that a little bit to kind of get it to go back the other way, or press on it a little bit to kind of smooth it out. You can even remove it if you're not liking the way it looks. But I did want to mention to you guys that this actually is a glitter ink. So if you do see a little hints of glitter in the nails, little hints of shimmer in the nail, when I get done doing this set of nails, that's the reason why you're seeing it, is because there actually is a little bit of a blue glitter in this green ink, and it's absolutely stunning. So on a side note, aside from the fact that this nail design is happening right now, if you hear a meowing, like persistent low tone meowing in the background, it may come or go. That is my female cat in heat for the first time. Yay! So that's like all day off and on, sometimes throughout the nighttime. And I am so lucky, okay, that she's a very quiet cat, because her, meowing is kind of cute and sweet and very subtle. It's not that like nonstop craziness, but it is still like off and on throughout every hour of the day. And it kind of creeped up on me because it happened to her like as quick as it possibly could happen to her, and I was not prepared. I knew it was coming, but I just wasn't thinking about it, and it popped up and I was like, oh my gosh. If you've ever had a cat in your house in heat, you know the pain in my mind is real. And I'm over here just like, oh my gosh, just shut up. There's nothing I can do for you, but it'll pass. And I've considered having her spayed, but at the same time, I'm like, because sometimes that goes south. Okay, I had a cat many years ago, had her spayed. She never was right. She was never right after that. She acted all kinds of crazy. She did not like snap out of the anesthesia properly. It just made her go buck wild and crazy. And I just had such a bad experience with that. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to go through that. I think I could probably tolerate the seasonal, meowing every couple weeks, unless it turns into something extreme. But I don't know. I still have not figured out what I'm going to do with that situation. But if you do hear that in the background, and if you've ever had that experience, you know what I'm going through, and it's about enough to just drive you a little bit up the wall. Even though it's not their fault, okay, it is just Mother Nature doing its thing. But yeah, so if you hear it, that's what's going on, and I apologize, but my kitty cat is just very lovey-dovey right now, okay, for everybody. So I don't know if you guys can hear her or not. She's like walking around over there making that noise. But like I said, I don't know if the microphone's picking that up or not. Like, I don't know. But yeah, it's so low tone though. But if you guys have had that experience, comment down below. Let me know what you have to say about the cats in heat. Okay, aside from this nail design that we're supposed to be focusing on, because that's what this video is about, right? Nope, we're going to change the subject. We're going to talk about cats in heat, because you guys know I am so absolutely random. And y'all know me, I got to incorporate just a little bit of my shenanigans in just about everything I post for you guys, okay? Because that's life, and life is full of randomness and shenanigans. It's not all peaceful and quiet, though peace and quiet does sound pretty nice. Pretty nice. But no, we got to have some shenanigans going on. So anyway, aside from the shenanigans and my kitty cat drama, okay, we got to get back into this nail design, because this set is almost done, y'all. I am in the final stretch of finishing out this index finger, adding just some last little pops of white in there to help break everything up a little bit and complete this look. And then I've got to go around and clean up everything with a little alcohol, make sure there's no product on the skin, so I can go ahead and top coat this baby and have it done. This is what the index finger is looking like. I am loving this green and white and the way they work together just to create that design. I'm going to hit this with that non-wipe top coat and float that over the nail so we can get this in the lamp. Cure this out for 60 seconds, and I will finish the rest of these fingers off camera for you guys, because you've seen the process and you know what's going on. So we are all done. This is how it turned out after the top coat. So super cute. I love this set of nails for St. Patrick's Day with that green, a very mature set of St. Patrick's Day nails. And I hope you guys love these too. I just love the way they turned out. The green is really, really popping on these nails. I love the brown nail, but the combination of the brown and the white and the green together is just beautiful. I hope you guys can see that detail in the nail and how it has that sense of realism in there. All those little layers and steps, I believe, really paid off, and it just made a very beautiful set of nails. And as for these nail tips from Rosalind, I am loving these. These are beautiful. They're holding up really well. I will have them linked down below for you guys. Definitely smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.